it was either this movie or Judas and the Black Messiah, and I'm not going to touch that movie with a 10-foot pole. I don't want to be engaged in that discourse whatsoever of people trying to figure out just exactly how much of a Fed I actually am.
Yeah, I mean, you are relaunching the pod, though, so you want to gin up as much attention as you can. But no, I can definitely see why you wouldn't want to go anywhere near that. Just no.
Yeah, I think, it's bad enough if you criticize Chromatica by Lady Gaga. I don't want to know what K-Hive will do to us if we decide to bring up that maybe Judas and the Black Messiah was neutered a little bit in its messaging for whatever reason. I don't know why. They wouldn't want to bring up certain aspects about what Hampton actually believed in. Who knows? Anyways, I really enjoyed watching that on HBO Max, part of the AT&T family. That's right. Nothing going wrong there whatsoever. Anyways, let's talk about Stardust.
You've seen stories of magical worlds, wicked witches, flying pirates, and dashing princes. But never has there been an adventure quite like this.
Everyone's talking about fallen stars.
Garbage in, garbage out.
Hey everyone, welcome to Garbage In, Garbage Out. First time in a long time, so man, what a hiatus. Devin isn't joining me this week. Instead, I have an all-new co-host, also going to be trying to fill the same emotional void that exists in the podcast, so we'll see how that dynamic works. It's Grift from Grift Shop. How's it going?
Hey, good. It's great to be here. I remember I guested on this show like almost a year ago now.
Yeah.
We did the platform episode.
Oh man.
Yeah, that was great. Like, what was that, like late March, early April of 2020?
Yeah.
Like, it feels like that was like early quarantine days. It simultaneously feels like a completely other age, but also like not that long ago at all.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I am willing to bet there's probably like so once this quarantine is over, what are you going to do for Cinco de Mayo once this settles down? But as anyone who's checking this out in the title should see, our main thing that we're going to be talking about is the 2007 film Stardust, which is a classic fairy tale setup with kind of like a modern mindset and some kind of adventure elements thrown in. It's a pretty fun little movie altogether. But since we have someone who is, I used to view myself as terminally online, but Grift and that whole side of Twitter, man, I mean, it's not only never logging off, but like your alt's never logging off either. That's a level of commendable, I have to say, for everyone there. So I'm really excited to talk about the other things and elements that have come out circulating surrounding both this movie, but then also the events surrounding it, because we're all kinds of beaten up right now, just ever since hearing the news, of course, about Daft Punk breaking up. That's just really unfortunate to see. Everyone's like weird older brother or older cousin who would get you a little too high and then put on the Daft Punk movie and talk about how it's so good. Yeah, just fond memories through and through.
Yeah, I just want to see what crazy conspiracies come out of that image that they put out to announce that they're no longer together. It was like the hands making the diamond. It was like trying to lean into the Illuminati, whatever, like Masonic imagery that maybe they're trying to bring it back to those old school conspiracy theories, given how things have gone these days. But yeah,
they're about to be killed. That's what we're thinking. Then Daft and Punk, or whatever their actual names are going to get replaced by body doubles, and then they're going to go on tour. That's what's happening here.
Yeah, what if they are Q?
Oh, now that's something that we could get onto here. Yeah. That would, I think, be like a happy medium, because like that would satisfy a bunch of blue lib Dems who are hoping that Q is a foreign agent and then a whole bunch of just radical right wingers who say, well, Q is connected into the celebrity world, but isn't really a part of it. Daft Punk fits both of those types just a little too well for them. Nothing better than them coming from a country with no known history of sexual deviancy whatsoever. France, lovely place, from what I heard.
Yeah, just the land of completely normal sexual appetites.
Well, enough talk, I guess, about Marquis de Sade and more about this marquee movie, huh? Oh, professionalism right there.
Transition.
So what's your initial thought, your broad stroke impressions?
So it was obviously trying to be like a sort of like Princess Bride ripoff. And like the sort of style of humor and the elevated fairy tale tone, it felt like very much like a modern sort of update on that sort of, the way to tell a fairy tale in a movie style. But like, so, and yeah, it just like, I think we were talking about this before we started recording a little bit, but it just felt like the sort of type of movie they don't really make anymore. Because it had a decent budget, but it wasn't based off of any huge property that they could cash in on as far as like the marketing tie-ins and name recognition or whatever. Because like nowadays, if you're going to throw any sort of money like this, I think the budget was around like 75 million or a little higher than that.
Yeah,
which
that
is like,
sounds about right.
In 2007, that's pretty decent money for a movie. And like it definitely did come out in this time of the sort of like mid-aughts where they were throwing a lot of money at these fantasy movies, trying to like recreate Harry Potter and stuff. It was in that era where like every youth book like that had any sort of like purchase within the mind of a young person who might go see it was like just getting greenlit. Just
looking at you, Chronicles of Narnia all the way through.
Golden Compass.
Oh God, the Golden Compass movie.
Yeah, a lot of dubious adaptations slipped in there. The fucking Percy Jackson movie, remember that?
Oh no!
Oh, that was bad. But I mean, overall, pretty enjoyable movie with some really like interesting little bits. I'm sure we'll get into some little turns by certain stars that you wouldn't expect that are sort of just really hidden gems.
We'll go through the cast kind of as we run through the plot here, but major props to the casting director, because there are a bunch of big namers that were right there before they got big, and just applause all the way through, because I think the biggest name at this time were like the two secondary characters, probably, of course, with Robert De Niro and Michelle Pfeiffer, but really rolled the dice on some relative unknowns kind of being your core cast. So major applause to them on that. There was one vlogger who I found, because surprisingly on the internet, Stardust, which is a movie that's oftentimes overlooked, doesn't have like a whole lot of like heated debate or emotions online. People aren't overly fanatical about this. But there's one person I found who talked about how poorly this movie had aged. And that just absolutely delighted me, because listening to the reasons and the justifications, it became very clear that this person, who is younger, I'm going to say probably like 25-ish, doesn't quite understand the concept of something being subversive, in the sense that, like, in order to subvert something, the initial premise has to start off straight. Like, in order to show, why, for example, the female character is just as good as the male character has to assert that the female character is not as good as him. That's kind of just how script writing and subverting tropes and stuff works. And so when the entire YouTube video, which is like half an hour long, by the way, like we might have a lengthy podcast. I will never have a 31-minute long, highly edited YouTube video.
How much time did they spend producing that for half an hour of video YouTube on this movie? My God, what are you doing with your time?
Too much is the long and short of it. So all of these examples given of like, look at the violence in this movie. Look at how it's reporting these elements here of toxic masculinity. Look at how our main character treats this woman like trash. crash, which again, since we'll be talking about the plot shortly, it revolves around a star, okay, not a woman. So let's go ahead and just review real quick what in general critics kind of think about it versus audiences, because on average this movie got favorable reviews, probably like, it's 6.5 out of 10, and audiences gave it like a 7.5 or an 8 out of 10. So in other words, like everyone kind of likes it. Critics thought it was okay. Audiences thought it was pretty good. There's not a giant disparity here. This isn't Zack Snyder's Justice League, for example, whenever that comes out, and it'll have an 85 to 90% audience approval rating and just a truly abysmal critic score is what I'm guessing. I don't know. What do you think, Grift?
Yeah, it's, this is just the classic, like 3-star Yelp review type movie, which like you were talking about, like nobody has really strong opinions. Like nobody is ever going to leave a 3-star Yelp review. It's either all like 1, like I'm going to fucking burn this establishment to the ground, or 5, this is the greatest movie ever all time. I'm going to make my IMDb list of of these 10.0 movies. But yeah, this I can see why it's sort of gotten forgotten a bit, despite the sort of unique elements that you were talking about, like with the cast and with the sort of star turns and the little bits. It's funny that there was a video that someone was trying to cancel the movie for not holding up as far as like wokeness or whatever. Because I mean, for a film that came out in 2007, I honestly found it like pretty progressive and, like you said, like subversive in the way it played with those tropes in some really interesting ways. So it's just it's just so funny that some like of course some like Gen Z like YouTube person like was like this is why this is problematic and this is why this matters. Like
yeah, to give people a frame of reference, this is the same year that like the first Transformers movie came out and that 300 came out. Okay, like the politics of this movie is at least like 5 years more developed than that those other blockbusters at the time. So
it's like easily this could have come out during the Obama administration, despite although there's like it's very like PG-13 horny.
Certainly.
Yeah, like in the like rating, like the MPAA reasons they gave for the rating, they described it as risque humor, which is like the perfect way to describe that.
I mean, it's the same thing with like Pirates of the Caribbean. It has like very PG-13 violence and stuff. Like you're not gonna get like the hard R.
Definitely a little bit like cheesier and campier than Pirates of the Caribbean, if even.
For sure.
Yeah.
So I guess let's go ahead and just kind of talk about the plot, because as the movie opens right off the bat here, you have Ian McKellen, Magneto himself, Gandalf himself, narrating this thing, and I was like, oh boy, this is great, because he's like the British Morgan Freeman. Like he's the person you go to when you need something narrated in a fairy tale. Like sure, why not? He's available.
Instant gravitas.
Yeah. Yeah. He broke up his photo shoot with Patrick Stewart in order to try and make it for this recording session for the movie. So good for them. But our movie opens on the town of Wall, which is in England, right? It was England and not Scotland.
Yeah, it was a town in England called Wall. Because there was a wall there. It's a little right on the nose. Yeah.
I guess it's no different than like what we do here in the States, where we just call it like Walton or something.
Yeah, literally Wall Street.
Oh God. I wonder if the town of Wall is doing okay now in the 21st century, or if a whole bunch of GameStop bros have invaded and taken it over. Only time will tell. There is 2 different almost universes then. Like this is like a hidden kingdom, but it's also like a different world, because there's a hole in the wall that acts kind of like a portal between places.
Yeah, and it's funny because the wall itself is not very high. Like I think my first note was like, why would they just go through this little gap that's guarded by this like gatekeeper guy who, as you see later, he's pretty skilled with his weapon of choice. So like And the wall only looked like to be like 5 feet high or something. So I was just like, why would you not just climb over it at any other spot that doesn't have a hole in it? Like maybe it has like magical defenses or something. I think that was supposed to be the implied thing, but it was just sort of like, it was sort of incongruous just how short this wall was.
I mean, I almost put it into like a reason I enjoy this movie, because it's like, why would we build a tall wall? What you need to know is that there's a wall. So here's a wall. It works for the purposes of our story. Like, it could be any height, and then like you would just say, well, like, get a bigger ladder. So in that case, then we got this broken down wall set that we're using for, I don't know, a Downton Abbey prequel or something. So let's go ahead and make it happen. But anyways, so like one day, of course, this young guy who's played by Prince Caspian, speaking of fucking Ben Barnes himself, goes in and he's able to like evade a guard, and he's able to go into this magical kingdom where like he goes from the small township area to like a bustling marketplace. I don't know, a festival was happening or what. I was getting like almost like a Mardi Gras vibe to it, the party that they were going to. And maybe it's just because I've missed the past 2 Mardi Gras because of this pandemic. But again, feeling nostalgic, just like to be around people in a drunken establishment place and to possibly be dying of scurvy. This seems fantastic. What a time to be alive. So anyway, this guy meets a enslaved princess, and because it's a fairy tale, you go by fairy tale logic. Enslaved princess, of course, then wants to fuck the earthling stranger.
Just like right in her like gypsy wagon there.
Oh yeah,
like, yeah. Just shut that door. Just get it on right in the middle of the town. No one's gonna know. It's like it was like the fucking like gypsy bang bus or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, yeah.
I want you to do it while this guy watches. That's actually what this wagon is for, you see. It's all exhibitionism.
Yeah.
So yeah, the princess gives him like a glass flower that will come in later. And she's like, yeah, and then he leaves, right? So again, fairy tale logic. 9 months later, knock at the door. What do you know? It's a baby.
Well, like, what are the father's rights on that? Like, it's just sort of, it gets dropped off. It gets all pawned on him. Like, this is how online like men's rights movements start.
I can see that. At least in this world, it's still, you go by the fairy tale rules. So anytime people have sex, it leads to pregnancy. Like, there's no sex for fun in the fairy tale world, you know?
No, it's deadly serious matter.
The entire time, you're just thinking of, like, your ancestors and your lineage. Like, that's supposed to be what happens. The actual romance is the hotly holding hands with each other from 2 separate beds. That's what's supposed to be the highlight of your night. And so then you jump forward again 18 years. So there's like a couple time jumps right off the bat here, but we finally get to the old king, right? The old king of the magical kingdom, who of course, because of fucking course, it's Peter O'Toole in his most like dementia riddled fucking role I think I've seen in a while. Talks about how he needs to have an heir. So the first of his male descendants to get a ruby that he throws is gonna inherit, which I would love to know the origins of that weird game of fetch that takes place between family members.
Yeah, and the brothers are also all killing each other. Like he was like, you're the 4 that have survived. There were 10 of you, but you're the 4 that are left. It's just like it's so absurd and over the top. And sort of, but also, you know, that's some political realism right there. All these contenders for the throne just backstabbing each other. It was a Game of Thrones before Game of Thrones, a little bit, little black pill there.
I am excited. I can just now imagine the king leaning in and just be like, Septus, you exhibit real girl boss energy. Please inherit my kingdom. Slay queen. Because one of his sons is also Mark Strong, who I don't know if you recognize him, but he's like now become like the go-to if you need a British stern guy. because he is able to rock the bald head instead of the ridiculous wig that he's wearing in this movie.
Yeah, I'd used to him being like bald and stuff, so to see him with the flowing locks was was a trip.
He plays Merlin in the Kingsman movies. The director of this movie also did. So
yeah, Matthew Vaughn. Yeah,
just way to hitch your wagon on that, huh? Just be like, I'll be in your dumbass fairy tale movie, but I'm gonna rake in some blockbuster money later. That's what I want. I want my own Funko Pop action figure. Is what I'm expecting to happen. So the king throws the ruby, by the way, like so far into the sky that it hits a star. Like that's the belief in this magical world of realism.
He's just on his deathbed and has like
just casual, effortless. Right? Imagine what an arm that guy must have had in his prime. Just
Hall of Fame material right there.
Yeah. Just John Elway slinging the rock is what's happening. An elderly Patrick Mahomes is what I'm witnessing. Yeah, so I get that it's magic, though. You throw the magic ruby in the sky, magic ruby will hit a star, whatever. Congratulations to
Fairy
everyone.
tale logic.
Yeah, and that's not to mean that, like, oh, yada-yadaing over some important stuff, but, like, this is all set up to make sure that you understand that this is a fairy tale world in which we're living in. So we check back in with our hero, who is played by Charlie Cox before he's famous. So, we're dealing with Daredevil himself here, which was real weird to not see him be a blind guy with a cane walking around. Like, because I thought for the longest time in the Daredevil TV show that when he's kind of staring just off camera, that like he's trying to pretend that he's blind. I didn't realize that was just like how his face actually looked when he's just staring off at something. So I was like, wow. So that's a really excellent acting choice.
The method acting is really.
Yeah. It's like, oh no, he just looks like that, slightly bug-eyed the entire time.
You're just slightly bewildered at all times a little bit.
Which is interesting because he, you see, is in love with this chick named Victoria, and Victoria is like the hottest lady in the small town of Wall, which I'm guessing probably only has like 50 people in it. It doesn't seem like it's a thriving community. She's played by the woman who was the Baroness in G.I. Joe: The Rise of Cobra. So if you remember Channing Tatum's hot lady friend from that movie.
Cannot say I saw that one.
No. Well, good for you. I'm glad that you had a life and better things to do. Especially on repeat on FX at like 1 a.m. when you're sure, it's 4 hours long because of all the commercials, but I guess it's worth it. I'm not going to change the channel. Whatever.
Yeah, FX does have those periods where they'll play the same movies over and over again. So it must just have what was a time when like I just remember from like college, just like sitting on the couch like hanging out with people, and just the same movie on FX would just come on over and over again, or like multiple nights a week or some shit. Like
it was the worst, just hands down, I think. But so he loves Victoria. Victoria, though, loves Humphrey, who's played by Henry Cavill, in just, a blonde-ass wig, blonde-ass mustache.
I did not realize that was him at first. It was pretty unrecognizable.
It's also, I think, like, most importantly, like, before he got Superman swole, which was then way before he got like The Witcher jacked, which is what he's done.
Thank you, Zack Snyder, for starting him down that path. It all comes back to him.
Zack Snyder introduced Henry Cavill to protein powder, and now he won't stop talking about how you can't trust women in the Me Too era. Like, it's a good time. It's a good guy.
Yeah, but like, our boy Tristan, he is so fucking blue pilled right now at the because he like loses his job to like care. He works at this shop, and it's sort of interesting, like when he's sort of she's sort of like he's trying to explain that he wants to be bigger than his aspirations. He had an interesting line. He's like, I'm not a shop boy. I'm just working in a shop. It was very like temporary embarrassed millionaire mindset.
Oh yeah.
But then he's working in this shop and she comes in to like buy some food and stuff. But then he like offers to walk her home and carry the stuff. And he just loses his job because of that. Just cuts out of the middle of the day to like walk her stuff home. And it's like, damn, dude, like he's incredibly cucked like out the gate here.
He is like a walking stereotype. Like he would become memeified in the 21st century is what it is. Like there would be a picture of him somewhere on a message board that would go just crazy. Because man, what a poor guy. But it's okay though, because he talks to his dad about like his absolute just shithead of a day, and his dad's like, well, it's time I finally told you something. Your mom is from beyond the wall. Yeah, there's this whole thing. It goes over there. She left this candle for you. It's called a Babylon candle. It'll transport you to like wherever you're thinking of, I guess. Yeah, I mean that's basically how it works. And so it's like, of course, Tristan does this absolute bullshit, which is, again, some of the most cuck shit in the world. It'd be like, oh, well, let me try and figure out what's going on there.
Yeah, it's the Chad Humphrey versus the Virgin Tristan.
Oh, I guess that's the other thing too, is that like Tristan witnesses the star falling and then says to his local love, like, hey, if I get that for you, will you please not fuck Humphrey? And
yeah, because she's like Humphrey. Yeah, like Humphrey's going one town over to get me a ring because he wants to marry me, but I'll go get this star for you. And it's just like, yeah. Again, he is so blue pilled. It is ridiculous.
I need to make sure we were reading, kind of the same vibes here. There wasn't a chance in hell that Tristan was gonna fuck Victoria, right?
No, absolutely not. Like he was straight up in the friend zone. Like she was just toying with him. She was after the Chad guy for sure. He had no shot.
Which, I mean, objectively, she should be. Like, I don't know too much about Humphrey, but if Humphrey's not the type to ditch everything so he can carry a basket of groceries home for a girl, like, good for Humphrey. I hope you're doing well there, buddy. So Tristan lights the candle. He flies off into the magical land, but he's intercepted and he lands in a giant crater where the star had fallen. And wouldn't you know it, the star is a lady. The star's name is Yvain. You have Claire Danes in the role. So Carrie Matheson from Homeland is the fucking star.
Yeah.
So congratulations.
It's funny how she's like, she starts like glowing over the course of the movie. I think it's explained that she's just gonna like glow more and more because you can't hide that she's a star. But yeah, Claire Danes cannot help but play glowies.
I just, it was strange because when I was watching it, my partner, Devin, was just asking, like, so, like, where do I know her from? And it's like, I honestly don't know because I know her mostly from Homeland, and that's it. I've never, watched an episode of Homeland and thought, you know what I could do for right now? Some more Claire Danes work.
Like, this is enough. Like, I'll take, like, I mean, those first couple seasons of Homeland were pretty good, but.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, I think that's also, I might need to rewatch that in a non-super lib mindset because I'm pretty sure I'm about to get some like Zero Dark 30 kind of vibes from that shit.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so this role went to her. She beat out Anne Hathaway, Scarlett Johansson, Sarah Michelle Gellar, and Jessica Alba for this role, which is, good. Now, did she beat them out, or did the other actresses turn it down, or was she just willing to do it for like next to nothing? I have no idea. Like who knows? Like with the real Hollywood.
Was this a Harvey Weinstein situation? We will never know.
Yeah, exactly.
How did she get the role? What did she do?
Oh my God! Just where's that level of reporting? To be like, so Claire Danes for the 2007 film Stardust. Did you suck a dick? Did you get fucked for this role? Is that what happened?
We're trying to hold people accountable here.
Yeah, exactly. How much would it suck, by the way, if it was like Claire Danes was like, yeah, no, like I had to give him a hand job and it was awful, just the worst thing in the world. And then like meanwhile, the actress who plays the mom of Tristan, the gypsy woman at the beginning, just if that woman was like, I had to do so much more for so much less of a part. What the fuck is this? This is ridiculous. The exchange rates are not the same.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. All trauma is trauma and it's bad. But, like, why was yours less? I don't understand what happened.
And, like, speaking of the mom character, there's some, like, weird Oedipal shit going on. Because he, like, at first thinks that the star is his mom. And he's, like, he gets transported there and is going so fast that he knocks her down, and it does like the classic like guy falls on top of girl and it's awkward. But then he's like, "Mom," and like, and it's just like, and then it comes, and then we'll probably get it. The mom comes back later, and it has that same like he actually has actual sexual attention with the person playing his mom who's still young. So it's like, there's some little subtext there.
I mean, and based on the fact that like his bloodline, I mean, like if they're all killing each other, they all might be fucking each other. Like it's not entirely out of the question to imply that a little bit too.
When like, in Stormhold, do as the Stormholdians do.
Kill your brother, fuck your cousin. There we go. It's the Stormhold way.
Yeah.
God damn it! Their I don't know, their newsletter, whatever the fuck you would want to call it, is just the Daily Stormholt, but it's just talking about the crime statistics over in the little Stormholt region.
I thought you were gonna say it's called the Daily Stormer. Oh no.
The storm is coming to Stormholt. That's right. Just cue propaganda everywhere. So our hero guy Tristan, he now realizes that the star is in fact a woman. So he does what any white guy in that time did when they encountered the exotic culture, chained it up and tried to bring it back as a trophy.
Checks out.
True tradition there, and I appreciated that level of realism. It helped ground me for the rest of the film, because we're then introduced to another party or group of people, and that's three ancient witches who have decided that they are going to eat the hearts of stars because they know stars are people, and that hasn't changed their worldview entirely of how they think things operate. But they decide to eat the hearts of stars so that way then they can basically live forever. For normal people, it would be living forever. But I think for witches, it just kind of expands their youth because all of the magic comes like at a physical price for them.
Okay.
Which, that's
like the whole motivation for the witches to try to get the star. It felt a little like sort of like very like sort of like retrograde fantasy, like the evil witch just wants to get the magic thing to become young again because of toxic feminine vanity or whatever like implied motivation there was there. But
it really is like, who are you trying to impress right now, huh, Michelle Gellar?
Yeah,
your sisters.
That's it. Like she's literally trying to impress her sisters because when she turns young again to try to go to find it and to like to I guess like blend in or whatever to go forth to find the star, she becomes young, and then she strips and then shows off her like body to her sister. So it's like you're trying to get this like youthful like body so you can show off to your other sisters. So it's like don't know what's going on there.
The second incest reference point that you could have here. I don't know necessarily like how to best phrase the next part here, because now you morph into the witches are on a quest for the star. The princes are on a quest for the ruby that is the thing that hit the star that then now the star wears around her neck. So they're also indirectly then after the star. And then Tristan is taking the star to go see Victoria because, he's decided, like, why else? Of course the star is a real person, but whatever. It doesn't matter. I just met what is the equivalent of an alien, and I still am trying to get my dick wet. It all tracks. True to form. Classic fairy tale magic here. So the star, Yvain, then becomes tired, and Tristan then chains her up to a tree and promises free food. But then you're going to need to help me out here. Where did the unicorn come from exactly?
In my notes, I have just universes, like unicorn versus goat. Like just that, there was at one point I think initially the unicorn comes out of the woods and finds her.
Okay.
I don't know if it was said where it actually came from, but at one point, like the unicorn charges a goat and like hits and like and just like headbutts it. And this is like one of the funniest bits of the movie, where just like the goat just flies across the room. Like, I may be jumping ahead a bit, but like I couldn't help but bring this scene up just because like the way this goat, like, I guess it dies on impact and then it just falls to the ground, and the way this like lifeless goat carcass just like crashes to the ground was just this really small moment of like just of physical humor that really got me.
It's something that people don't think about, just how violent a horse with a giant spike in its head would be.
And what it would do if it charged like full speed at a goat, like inside of a farmhouse.
Just eviscerates it is unfortunately what happens. So the star then wanders to this inn that one of the witches has constructed, this witch being Michelle Pfeiffer's character, has made as a trap, which, like, that seems like a pretty useful spell potion. I don't know like what exactly it is, but how many Twitter leftists do you think we know that would abuse this to build out like a commune overnight somewhere, just like in the middle of nowhere?
Oh my god! Like, I can't even imagine some of the sick shit that would result from that.
Oh no doubt sick shit would happen. I'm just saying there are dozens of people that I think we're mutuals with.
That's a given.
What? No, that sounds great. We'll go. It'll be fantastic. What do you mean there's no Wi-Fi? Oh my god, I'm so bored. Hold on. Let me.
Everyone's just like reflexively pulls out their phones all the time, but just there's no Wi-Fi to connect to, so it's just like a reflex. Like, oh shit!
A lot of people checking the time right now, huh? Strange, weird with that going on. I'm not sure how group chats would work. Would that just be everyone getting into the tavern at the same time and then trying to have a good time all together?
Yeah, hanging out in person, the original group chat.
Oh, those people don't want to hang out with me? Well, I guess it's because they're ableist, huh? Yeah, that's why. Your hidden bigotry is showing as you go associate with all your friends over there. Well, I'm in the fucking stable with a goat that talks to me for some unexplained reason. Sorry. Back then, I guess, to the actual stuff at play here. Tristan then winds up going to the inn as well because the princes, of course, are on their way to figure out what happens. So he kind of hitches a ride with one of them. And then the witch ends up... I don't know, there's a confrontation that takes place between the witch and then the first prince, Primus, who Primus is talking about, what he wants it for, and he's talking about like, oh, well, my dad, what a guy, which is just a weird thing to start like talking to someone about.
It's that like, Joe Biden shit. Like, come on, man. Like, my dad knew how to use a stone. Like,
see, I actually got like more Hunter Biden energy from this prince in particular.
Yeah,
like, he would definitely try and fuck in that bizarre copper bathtub if he thought.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
It would work. Who knows? So the witch, of course, kills one of the princes, and then I don't know if you noticed, but like when they bleed blue.
Yeah, great. I they never like referenced it specifically, but it was just this little visual gag that kept showing up. Like the literal blue bloods. Yeah, it was great.
I thought this is wonderful, and it probably also helped out like with the censors at the time, because it's not actual blood, it's not red blood, it's all blue. You show someone getting his throat slashed open, but as long as he bleeds blue, it's fine, I guess.
Yeah, that'll get it past the church ladies who do the rating for the MPAA.
So Tristan and the Star are able to escape because they use the last bit of the Babylon candle, and they both think of home. So Tristan, of course, thinks of his home in Wall, and then the Star thinks of her home in the fucking sky. So they land on a cloud platform. Because it's a fairy tale movie. This was a moment where I was just like, that's right, fuck me for trying to take this movie seriously. Thank you. I needed that. A real good heat check moment for me. They are captured by pirates, led by their leader, Captain Shakespeare, which is portrayed by Robert De Niro in a generational performance.
Oh, yeah.
I think.
Oh, my God. Just like I think you said, like to just first of all to see him not sleepwalking through a role, like I think he's done a little more stuff like recently, like The Irishman or whatever, like stuff that's actually back to making real movies. But there was a time in like the mid-aughts where just everything he was in, you could tell he was just there to fucking collect the paycheck and get out as soon as possible. Just give his
what am I doing?
Yeah. But
Meet the Fockers 3. Oh, great. Okay. Yeah, thanks. Or Bad Grandpa with Zac Efron. Fucking whatever, dude. Okay, fine.
But yeah, this role is the complete opposite because he just fucking sends it. Like he fucking goes for it.
Yeah, the introduction to him is like, this is like some real brutal pirate captain guy. And I honestly wonder how much of the role he initially fell in love with, because he was trying to get some of that Pirates of the Caribbean money, or he thought like it might be like the next franchise. So it's like, well, if I can't be Barbossa and I'm too old to be Captain Sparrow, so Captain Shakespeare, sure, yeah, let's do it. But turns out that the brutal pirate captain actually has a heart of gold. What a joy. Good for him. Oh my God. It's not quite a caricature when, he code switches,
Yeah.
But it is I think a loving portrayal of that, because it's not like, oh, he's actually a fraud, like he doesn't know how to be a captain or anything. Like, no, he knows how to do all of this, but instead his actual personal life of what he wants is fashioned in London and very frilly, flowery type things. And the comments, the slight lisp he adds on to it, just the again, much more effeminate style portrayal. I really thought was something that like I would have expected in my circles for that to become like more of an icon than it was. Like why doesn't this person have fan cams built around them on Tumblr or something? Like at least that's what I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
What did you think about it?
I feel like in the right context, in the right movie nowadays, this could, it would be instant meme material, like that one you posted from the podcast account with the putting the makeup on compared to the Joker. This would like in the contemporary mimetic online economy, like it would there's definitely a lot of potential gifts that would come from him, I'm sure. Just like of him dancing in the mirror when the prince comes in, like that moment was just stage perfectly, just very, very good comedic timing.
The best thing, at least for me, was that the reason he's doing it is because his father was a feared super pirate, and he didn't want to disappoint his dad, so he took over the family business, as he calls it, and he's just kind of been going through the motions ever since.
Yeah, literally just like keeping the crew in line with performative toxic masculinity. Like when Tristan and Yvain Dolphin come in, he pretends he's going to take her into his cabin to rape her. Literally, the implication is like, I'm going to go rape her now. But then it's like, no, but then he pretends to throw Tristan overboard, and then they just show up in his cabin, and then he code switches and is the effeminate, friendly captain that you were talking about. But it was just kind of funny how like overt the implication was. And it was it did end up being performative. So it was like that sort of interesting little bait and switch subversion there. That
YouTuber
really
probably
well. Yeah.
Like if I had watched the full video from that YouTuber, I'm sure that would have been one of the complaints. Like, oh really? Look at what the pirate captain says about this female lead, huh? Can't believe this would make it in this movie about pirates doing what pirates did. Just fucking whatever.
Just literally missing the most basic subversion possible. Like it's so obvious, like that's what they're trying to do with that, and just goes completely over the head of someone who's just completely wrapped up in whatever like identity politics lens they're viewing it through.
Well, because I mean, I really think Disney adults specifically have taken over the pirate aesthetic, like I understand that pirates were probably a little bit more woke and a little bit better than like the worst of the pirates were, like great. They were able to allow people without hands to work. So they were accepting in that way, or like there were pirate queens too. Sure. Again, girl boss energy, but to be like, there was no raping or pillaging with the pirates. Come on now. What sort of... Oh, I can't believe you would spread the slander about Blackbeard, that he would kill innocent people. Like, come on.
How dare you spread lies about a POC like Blackbeard? That's extremely problematic narrative.
I mean, the legend said that he would twirl his beard into like candle, so it's not that far to think that he's like some white guy with beard dreads instead going on.
He's got a Koofy beanie on. He's got like a Koofy pirate hat.
Well, in terms of the plot, then, so like over the course of I guess a week, because he says that he'll drop them off, but he needs to run other errands at the same time, so deal with it, because he harvests lightning. That's like his profession of what he does, where he smuggles lightning, which I mean, like, I'm not sure fully how electricity works, and of course in Texas, where we don't seem to get electricity as often as we should, but this seemed like just an interesting economy and bit of world building, because they don't explain really what it's for or what it does, and I just appreciated that, because that would have been like another 10-minute venture into like pointless world building for world building's sake.
Yeah, it's the world is like you said, they don't explain any of it, and it's like an interesting sort of like, it's pretty unique mishmash of it's got some fantasy, it's got some sci-fi, it's got some steampunky elements with the flying pirate ship and stuff.
Oh yeah, steampunk for days.
Yeah, and the dress is sort of all over the place. Like you have the sort of medieval aesthetic with the swords and everything, but also like a lot of the guys are wearing like tri-corner caps. So it's like just sort of a European, like Renaissance through Enlightenment smorgasbord of aesthetics.
Oh, they go through the course of the weekend. Like Tristan gets a makeover. Yvain gets like a new dress, which is, I guess, cute. Tristan's hair is long and he knows how to fence now. So it's like, oh, look, he went from a boy to a man. Just some real... I also felt incredibly called out with his hair length and style. So I was like, this is 2021 rather. Like this is some bullshit is what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, I can relate to the hairstyle he's going for there. That lockdown hair for sure.
Yeah. He was actually quarantining for 11 and a half months all the way through.
was like he training on the quarantining in the sky, training his swordsmanship and growing out his hair. Pretty much. Like, did any of us really spend quarantine any other way?
It is great because later when he confronts Humphrey, it's like, what did you do for your week? Like, oh, you went and you got her a ring? Oh, well, you were out being a simp. I studied the blade, kind of a moment, Good for them. Good for them. Inspired a lot of mall ninjas everywhere. Congratulations. So the prince, who's like the last surviving prince, because he poisoned his brother towards the beginning of the movie, and he now has like this chorus of all of his dead brothers by him, which I mean, I think like that's probably just like the best possible role for an actor.
Yeah, just chilling, playing a ghost. Like, you get like a CGI version of yourself made. You get to wear those like motion capture balls on you or whatever. You're just vibing.
Okay, we need a shocked expression. Oh no! Oh, I'm dying. Oh, okay, that's lunch. Great, cool. I get paid $14,000 a day for my appearance here. I love the Actors Guild. Just what a time. What a time. He finds out, though, that the star will grant immortality if he eats the star's heart. So he's now not only after the necklace to prove that, he is the rightful heir, he now also wants her heart, same thing as the witches, because he wants to just live forever, which, good goals, I suppose, for a potentially evil king. I'm not sure. They all kind of have this like lovable moral gray area motif, and I'm really am a fan of that. So Captain Shakespeare's ship then drops Tristan and Yvain off. They confess their love for one another, and then they fuck at the marketplace. They rent a room out, probably by the hour, if I had to guess.
Yeah, and like the way they revealed their love to each other was that he gets turned into a mouse by the witch, and then when she's like sort of like taking care of him, she reveals her true feelings because she doesn't think he can hear. So, fellas, if you want a girl to tell you how she really feels, turn into a mouse. That's tried and true. That's how you'll get how she really feels about you.
Create a mouse Twitter account. In the bio, just put like, I'm a mouse, I really love cheese, and then DM your crush, being like, by the way, how do you think about this guy? Huh? What do you feel about him? I'm definitely not him, so I can't understand it. But go ahead, tell me in depth, please. What's up? They'll think it's real cute and not at all creepy. That's my biggest fear, by the way, is that like some socially unadjusted person, the type that mostly listens to like movie podcasts, is going to take some of this advice to heart one day. And
I don't need do that. Like, if they're following in the footsteps of Movie Bob, then they would definitely take that sort of advice.
I would love to become known as like leftist Movie Bob, but just
just care, like a bit Twitter account, like a novelty account where it's leftist Movie Bob. I'm surprised no one in our circle hasn't made that one already.
It's too cringe just right off the bat. No one can. It's like a lemon tart pie or something that's expired. You don't really know. You just think it's really tart all the way through. I think I could pull it off though. Eventually, when I buzz off my hair, I'll just let like my stubble grow out to have like a lazy drunk Irish Bostonian style goatee that he has. Put on some sunglasses and like an overly green background. I would be a dead ringer for him. I think I could pull that off. Yeah, you would.
That's a perfect outfit for bothering women at Comic-Con.
Oh my god! Just leave me to it. Give me them 45 minutes in a room together. That's also all I want. As I keep on describing to them repeatedly as they walk away from me. So if I remember correctly, like their room gets like really bright at one point, like as we're talking about like Tristan and Yvain, as they're fucking or, loving each other. And to that, I just really want to know, like, does that mean that, like, the star kind of has, like, a strobe effect going? Does it look like club music? Is it, in fact, like a Daft Punk reunion tour that we're hoping for? Is that what we want? Or, is it something just more bizarre, something purely meant to drive hate into the hearts of the epileptic and make them feel not wanted? That's what I'm trying to.
You definitely wouldn't have to plug one of those room light things under your viral Twitter post, because you would just have the star right there in the room with you.
Yeah, I would love it. Tristan just becomes a streamer and it's like, babe, I need you to stand right in front of me, okay? My O-ring light isn't working for me the same way. I need you to just spot me on this one, please. So, man, I'm trying to remember what happens next, because
they all just kind of start fighting. Like, there's like
yeah.
So like he cuts off, because the whole thing he was trying to like get like the part like the star to bring it back to get the girl. So he cuts off her hair and then goes to bring it to her, but then he finds out that she's gonna die if she goes into the real world. So then he
that's right, because it turns to rocks.
Yeah,
right? Her
yeah.
hair.
So then he's like, oh shit, I can't actually bring this to the girl that I want. I have to go back and tell the star, who I just ditched, who I literally just hit it and quit it, that if she like follows me, then she's gonna die. So then
left the most cryptic message in the fucking world. Like,
oh my god,
to that poor asshole down there.
Classic movie miscommunication. Like, he couldn't even have left a note.
Yeah, not like, hey, I'm going to wake you up real quick to tell you this before I leave, because I don't want there to be a miscommunication. So he goes and he's trying to get back to Yvain. She, though, thinks that she's been abandoned, rightfully so, because, again, cryptic fucking message. And she decides to walk towards the wall, which is like a weird thing to be like, well, I'll just meet him at the wall. I don't know why she would walk towards the wall, though, if she thinks that she's been abandoned.
It's that fairy tale logic again. It's not to be questioned.
We can't, because ultimately then you get all four parties colliding into the one spot on the wall. You have the witches, you have the prince, you have Yvain, you have Tristan, you have Tristan's mom, and then the side witch, the B plot story that ultimately doesn't really go anywhere, but it's important, I guess. Sure, why not? So the witches kidnap Yvain, and then they take her to the witch's manor, which I think the witch's manor is made like in the crater, right? Of where the last star was. Because it looked like it was like a hollowed out thing, and very like Addams Family style mansion almost on the inside there. And so of course you get again into more fairy tale logic of Septimus and Tristan decide to unite forces together to try and kill the witch, at least for the time being. And then once they break inside, Septimus realizes that Tristan's mom is his long lost sister. And they're like, whoa, I guess we're all are related. And, the ghosts in the background, of course, are like losing their shit. They're like, wow, this seems pretty cool.
Yeah, they're just a constant peanut gallery the entire time. Like, the ghosts are just riffing in the background the whole movie. Like, that's...
What's their podcast like? I want to see that. My brother, and me, I think is the name of it. Can't be any worse than the thing that Bruce Springsteen and Obama are getting ready to make. Did you see?
I saw some headline about that, but I have not looked into it, but it looks super cringe.
Don't want to go into like a super tangent, but like unless it's a podcast about like how much doing cocaine and also drinking is cool, like I really don't want to listen to it. But that's also two things that I think Barack Obama and Bruce Springsteen have in common. So fingers crossed for that eventual episode. Would definitely be interested in seeing it. Anyways, so two of the witches get killed. However, the last one, Michelle Pfeiffer's character, who, like, as she's using magic, has gotten older and older and older to this point. You know, like she started looking very old, ate the heart, got super young, like a de-aged Michelle Pfeiffer. You know, not quite as good as like an Ant-Man and the Wasp when they de-aged her for that, but it definitely was the best that 2007 had to offer at the time. Made her all hot, and then they slowly again aged her up as she's using magic. So by this point, she's looking close to being on death's door, but she uses a voodoo doll of Mark Strong's Septimus, and then, you know, he dies. He drowns to death because you can drown a voodoo doll, which that's voodoo doll logic, I guess, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
like my notes here, I was just sort of like in this big sort of fight they have inside the witch's castle or whatever. The different like powers they use, some of them are super underpowered and some of them are super overpowered. Like they like that zombie like the voodoo doll that you mentioned there. That was one of the most overpowered things that like you could have. Like they immediately brought it out, and then it's game over. Like you just start like breaking his legs, breaking his arms, and before like she'd like hit him with like the like force, like it was some Star Wars shit. Like they were like throwing, they were like using the force type equivalent to throw giant like vases around, and like there was like a force lightning, and they were conjuring fire and stuff. But it was all like super ineffective. Like it wasn't having like. It like wasn't hurting them at all. Like he got hit by a huge like flamethrower dose, and he was just like batting his clothes off like he'd just been singed a little bit. And then she just breaks out the voodoo doll, and he just starts like hovering in the air, and his limbs start like twitching, and he's immediately dead.
That scene, I think, if it were made today, would become an anime sequence. I think is what would end up happening.
Oh, it was total anime battle showdown.
I do know that it's become something that Charlie Cox has had to deal with in later work. But I guess in one of the sequences where he had like a giant vase thrown at him, it ended up actually hitting him so hard that when it broke, it knocked him unconscious.
Oh shit!
And so he's developed like concussions, migraines, and stuff ever since then. Which, you know, like. Bad day for that production assistant who, you know, fired the base at Charlie Cox. My God.
Yeah, I'm sure the insurance rates that the studio hired just flew through the roof.
I hope it was on the last day of filming. So Yvain and Tristan, it looks like they're going to be trapped inside the witch's castle because, like, oh look, she's now like super OP. But then, in like a weird, almost superhero line, she's like, yeah, Tristan, what do stars do? Like they shine, and then like just like hug, and then the power of love emits a bright, burning white light that completely just obliterates any trace of the witch, which is man, what a role to have. The power of love did this. So I don't know. If this were a Disney movie, I guess Michelle Pfeiffer's character would get a prequel. Like Cruella, you know.
Holy shit, you're right. Yeah, because it was Maleficent. Like they like something in that vein, and then like Cruella is just the ridiculous. We're gonna plumb this concept for the umpteenth time, but it's actually like you know the subversion of making the evil witch as the main character. Like you could, if done right, like that could actually, like, you know, that could be a decent tale. But it's just the way that Disney's doing these live action like they're not remakes, but they're like they're using known properties, but just like making a character twisted or whatever. And like particularly when it's like the woman is like, oh my god, we have a twisted woman now. And it's just like, it's like you're trying to be, you're clearly like trying to do the whole girl boss thing, but it just ends up looking like not very empowering or whatever you're trying to go for. It just looks like just sort of, you know, just like hollow and not really saying that much.
Well, like media always has this problem constantly all the time with like their source material, because like these properties are more or less in the public domain, like Sherlock, for example. That's the reason we get so much Sherlock and also King Arthur and Robin Hood and all that kind of stuff, is that they're in the public domain. So like, did you hear about the Netflix TV show, The Irregulars?
No.
Where it's about a group of troubled street teens who are manipulated into solving crimes by the sinister Dr. Watson.
Oh my god.
So, like they're like, fuck it, we'll reskin anything.
It's the fucking Riverdale-ification of the American movie and TV scene.
We had a chance to mock Archie back into the nether realm, and we didn't, and now look at what's happened to us. It's unavoidable. Yeah. So then in kind of the wrap up mode here, it's left to Tristan's mom to explain how the rights to heirship work, but essentially he's the last male heir. So congrats to him. He's now the king of the land. So Yvain will be his queen, and all these tropes that were subverted and deconstructed are then fulfilled again. It's the double twist. Now we can still get the happy ending. Now that fuck you for taking this movie seriously. Now here's your happy ending.
Yeah, we get
oh, great, thank you.
The completely conventional fairy tale ending. But then I love that little moment of all the characters are in the, all the people are cheering in the crowd when they're crowned. But then Robert De Niro's character just winks at Henry Cavill, and then
oh yeah,
he seems like he's with the girl that Tristan wanted at the beginning, but he was unable to get in comparison to Humphrey. But Humphrey seemed into it. He was digging what Robert De Niro was putting down there. He didn't seem too happy.
He could have looked away.
Yeah.
He didn't want to.
Yeah.
So then in narration, we're told that after 80 years of ruling, they use another Babylon candle to ascend into the sky where they live as stars, which, congratulations. I would have paid $1,000 though if they had needle drop featuring I Always Feel Like Somebody's Watching Me roll as the credits rolled. Just that's what I wanted. But yeah, I mean, that's the movie. So, I mean, I guess it would be better if you're going with the name of Stardust, if it was all David Bowie music. That would make it probably a little bit more sense. But if it can't be that, then this was good.
Listen, David Bowie was actually a Nazi, and therefore all his music is canceled. So we can't.
Sorry,
yeah,
sorry.
We can't be having any of that.
I love the David Bowie had sex with a 14-year-old. And, all of that's incredibly problematic. But he was a product of his time. You have to understand that in the UK, it's all different, you see, blah, 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 blah. Well, okay, fine. We'll just use Under Pressure then, I guess. That seems like the closest to David Bowie you can get without just starting a shitstorm, huh? Wow. But, yeah, so that's the movie, everyone. We kind of ran through everything. Had a couple detours. That was pretty great. Did you have any ideas on what you would want to see in it, or how to improve it, or anything like that?
Honestly, I just wanted to see more of Robert De Niro's pirate character.
Yeah,
I want him to have his own movie.
Yeah,
that. Yeah. His origin story or some shit.
No, I want the sequel. I want a sequel. It's Robert De Niro and Henry Cavill as gay pirates.
Yes. Oh my god! Just a grooming pirate adventure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that is the thing. I keep forgetting is that Henry Cavill and all these characters are supposed to be 18. They're supposed to be teenagers, when they're doing all this. So it would for sure be grooming.
Problematic age gap.
Man. Well, thank you so much again. I guess I don't need to thank you. You're the co-host now.
I'm along
glad
for the
you did
ride.
your job.
Yeah. Now get back in the Grift shop.
Yeah, exactly. We need merch, goddammit. Come on. But
Get to work on that new logo. It's coming along. It's coming along.
Yeah, I mean, I feel bad because like the only big thing, at least in pop culture, that I don't think that's been bothering me that we haven't quite been able to touch on is throwing a reference into Joker Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
Just popping up, at least on the day of this recording. Man, Joker Jesus has taken over all the airwaves, all the airspace. It's been a hell of a time, hell of a ride for us here.
Want to know how I got these thorns?
I have never felt just a more sense of dread, I guess, than anything else. When I think about what am I going to expect out of a movie, like it's going to be brutal. Like there's no way that I'm going to have a fun time while watching this movie. But I guess that's a discussion for another point later on. Without further ado, then, Grift, do you have anything to plug? What's going on in your world?
Just, grift.shop. That's the website. You can check out merch there. Pick up something if you see anything you like. I've been doing this new concept where I have like a pop-up shop tab where I'll have new stuff that's available only for a little while. So I've been doing, I did a collab with that. I did a little collection for Rush Limbaugh's death that way. So I'm trying the model of limited availability runs of stuff, and it's been working out pretty well so far. So
nice.
Stay
nice.
tuned for next installments in that.
Yeah. Well, that should be great. For me, just find all my stuff in the show notes. So until next time, deuces.
Peace.